Scania engines are considered to be among the king of truck engines. The legend began in the late 1960s and has lived on ever since. It's for this reason that we admire companies that never forget their history and that we love the Scania V8. It has been around for centuries, but why was it invented? And why have they kept it through all these years? In this video, you'll learn all that and more, so you stay until the end. A Scania 11-liter engine with 250 horsepower was available in the early 1960s, which was sufficient for long haulage at the time. However, Scania engineers realized that their engines would need more power in the future and developed a more powerful one in 1962. This is due to space constraints. The big inline engine was considered too small to make a powerful engine. Due to these reasons, Scania developed a 90-degree V8 engine with a swept volume of 14.2 liters. Then, a quick response from the transport industry followed the introduction of the new engine on the LB140. Further, low engine speeds were encouraged by the engine's torque curve, which produced 350 horsepower. Then, the characteristic V8's unique sound quickly made this engine very popular. The 14-liter V8 engine produced by Scania is by far the most popular in the high-output segment, having sold more than 170,000 units. As a result of the 4 Series launch in 1995, Scania's engineers were divided. Some wanted the inline engine to maximize the company's modular system, and others wanted the V8 because of its significance to the Scania brand. After some time, the Euro emissions protocol was introduced, and a 72-degree angle V8 was developed. The engine was built in 12 prototypes, but crankshaft issues forced them to develop an entirely new 90-degree 16-liter engine instead. This was followed in 2000 by the addition of the even more powerful 16-liter V8 with ratings of 480 and 580 horsepower, more than twice that of the original 1969 V8. With up to 3,000 Newton-meters of torque, the company launched its most powerful engines to date in 2005, including 500, 560, and 620 horsepower V8s for Euro 3, Euro 4, and Euro 5 engines. Using the 16-liter engine, Scania increased the swept volume from 15.6 to 16.4 liters and introduced a lighter but stronger cylinder block in 2010. Additionally, Scania introduced one of the world's most powerful truck engines. The engine has a horsepower rating of 730 and a torque rating of 3,500 Newton meters. It was then that the R730 became a legend. Then every Scania V8 engine since 2015 has been able to run on biodiesel, also called HVO, due to Scania's environmental concerns. For the new truck generation of 2016, Scania introduced a brand new V8 engine with a reinforced cylinder block to cope with even higher pressure. In addition to improving fuel efficiency, serviceability, and uptime, 200 new components have been added. With today's Scania V8, 530 horsepower, 590 horsepower, 660 horsepower, or 770 horsepower are available with a torque of 3,700 Newton meters. But what other factors led to the development of the V8? Despite the invention of the engine cab in 1899, a long nose accommodates usually a long engine on many tracks up until the 1950s and 1960s. The concept was a result of a shorter chassis resulting in better maneuverability and a smaller track. At the time, inherently balanced inline 60s and 80s were still popular, so fitting a straight 8 was not an option. Then engineers from Scania developed a new concept as opposed to a straight 6 engine. And for a 50-ton carriage, a 250-ish horsepower output was sufficient for traveling 50 kilometers at power hauling speed in the 1960s. According to an old document, the Swedes conducted speed race research in 1964 with the help of Scania V8 to determine the safety of this measure. As a result of the local authorities increasing the speed of trucks from 50 to 70 kilometers of power, a new unit has come on the scene. The DS14 was first introduced at the IAA in Frankfurt, with the unprecedented power of 350 horses and 1,245 Newton meters of torque, which made it the king of the road for years to come. When a vehicle has more power, it is nimbler in acceleration, can keep up speed more effectively on inclines, and can carry more cargo. As a result, other automobiles did not overtake heavy trucks as frequently and dangerously as they did at lower cruising speeds. In those days, peak figures weren't the best indicator of success, but rather drivability, usability, and service life. Although a DS10 from 1962 was the first turbocharged Scania engine, there had never been a direct predecessor to the DS14. From 1000 RPM, the turbo provided a significant torque boost, allowing good pulls without shifting as often. In addition to that, it also prolonged the engine's lifespan. This engine was fundamentally a 90-degree crossplane engine using 4 bolts for the crankshaft main caps. In the valley, a high-pressure fuel pump and overhead valves operated a 2-valve valve train that controlled airflow, and the turbocharged diesel DS was named after it. It can also be used as a DSC and DSI, either using an air cooler or a liquid cooler. German transport experts recommended in the middle of the 1970s that every truck have a power-to-weight ratio of 8:1, which has been in effect since 1972. As compared to the previous top-of-the-line model with 260 horsepower, the DS14 has a 34% increase in power to weight. Then a 1976 upgrade promised 375 horsepower, which is almost 10 horsepower per ton less than its previous performance. Over the next decade, the power of the 14-liter engines increased from 480 horsepower and nearly 2,000 newtons of torque, while the latest generation reached 536 horsepower to meet Euro 2 specifications. With 260 horsepower, the 14.2 liters were designed for more than just transportation, and 900 of them were made between 1971 and 1977 for bus applications. At the same time, its marrying and industry alteration was built in over 21,000 units produced during the lifespan of the 14 liters. Over 100,000 DS14s were made between 1969 and 2002, demonstrating its popularity and greatness. Euro 3 compliance and still supplying the highest quality stuff to Scania's most demanding customers meant a completely new engine needed to be designed. Eventually, the brand considered larger versions of the straight six, but the DC16 was introduced due to the importance of the V8 heritage. In the concept stage, a 72-degree V was designed for packaging reasons, as opposed to the original 15.6 featuring an increased stroke of 154mm and a 90-degree angle. Even though it continues to have 1 head per cylinder, 2 camshafts and 4 valves per cylinder have been added. This engine's timing system, as well as various other parts, are identical to those in its predecessor, making it more modular. On top of the cylinder liner, the engine features a saver ring that scrapes carbon deposits off the piston to improve cylinder longevity. Additionally, the design of the water channels was altered to improve the effectiveness of head cooling. Currently, the top-of-the-line model has 770 horsepower, representing a recent increase in power. Up to a 12-degree incline, the most powerful V8s can carry 250 tons, or 120 tons of cargo. The OptiCruise transmission from Scania also enables this, since it features a single clutch blade. The vehicle can shift into the top 12th gear at 25 kilometers per hour. In its original design, Scania beards were designed to last 2 million kilometers before needing a major overhaul, or over 150,000 kilometers a year. Nevertheless, in some cases, it can easily add 5 million kilometers. Since 1969, Italy has been the top-selling nation for the Scania V8. Germany and Sweden are far behind, with only half the numbers. Together, there have been made over 250,000 V8 engines in all versions. So are the Scania V8s here to stay? V8s are said to excel when heavy transport is required, and because of the V8, fewer trucks need to be used for specific jobs, and the consumption levels remain the same. Aside from that, engineers are constantly improving the V8's performance, improving its fuel efficiency, and making it lighter. The legendary V8 engine thus has a bright future.